3 books, 2 manga, and 12 comics. This is everything I read in the month of August 2023. Stick around. How have I been doing this for 3 months and I still don't have an intro? So we're going to dive right into the reading material, but I have a quick, exciting announcement to make. So I am literally 1 subscriber away, just 1 benefactor to click subscribe, and I hit the 3 digits. I get my first 100 subscribers. That's thrilling. I am stuffed with excitement. At least that's what the guy at the bus stop said he was putting inside of me when he had me put on the blindfold. And I bring that up because it coincides with something that's happening right now. If you notice, this pile is significantly less than the pile from last month, and that's because I've been busy on other things. I made a deal with myself when I first started this channel that I wasn't really going to mention my in the world out there writing, okay? I didn't want to give people the impression that like I was starting this channel just to pimp my work, you know what I'm saying? And even in the very beginning when I met with other YouTube creators and did some collaborative stuff, why only when I'm filming? I told these other creators like Lunch Money Comics, Mon Comics, Obito, I'm not going to tell people that I have a book that's out in the world already because I don't want people to think I'm here to like grift them. I was being authentic when I said I wanted to start this channel to meet other comic book nerds and talk about writing and reading and all that jazz. But I didn't want from the jump off to be like, hey, my name's Ricky, go buy my book. But I do have a book out there, and I'll finally tell everybody what it is for those of you who have asked. It's on Amazon right now. It's called The Amazing Mrs. Kadabra. It's a contemporary fantasy story about 3 kids who find themselves faced with a lot of responsibility that they're not ready for. And it's a very personal story for me about kids and their relationships with their parents. If you want to go check it out, you don't have to buy it, I promise you. But like even just clicking on it on Amazon and reading the description or just reading the preview pages if you want, all of that helps the algorithm over at Amazon. Why am I bringing this up now? Well, the reason why I've been so busy in the last month is because my second book is finished. I've been editing it for about 3 months. For those of you who haven't written anything before, understand that when you write a book, when you type the end, that is not the end for you. You've got about, optimistically, at least 4 more drafts until it's finished. I'm on draft number 4, and I'm giving it to my editor on October 1st. So right now I'm reading less because I'm literally reading the book that I wrote again and again and again, as many times as I can this month until I hand it over, just ironing out more and more until I send it to them for their ironing process. My dream, my ultimate goal at any point in my life is to go into a Barnes & Noble's, see my book on the shelf, any book that I've written, and buy it and bring it up to the front counter and slip the receipt inside. And then I can die. I can go home and I can die in the car on the way home. But that's my dream. And for those of you who don't know anything about publishing, agents work primarily part-time, the large body of agents. They're looking for someone who can produce. So I'm writing a book a year. And this last year, Mrs. Kadabra came out. And so this coming fall, my next book, a horror novel, will be coming out. And then after that is a book of short stories. And then after that is another novel ad nauseum until I'm dead. So that's why I've been busy this month. That's why I haven't been reading so much. Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know here why, now that I'm on the cusp of 100 subscribers. Here's to the next 200,000 subscribers or whatever I can get. And here is what I read. We'll start with comics, go to books, end with comics. Crossed Mimic. This is the most recent Crossed story that we've gotten so far in terms of Crossed writing. Crossed is over. It's been over for a number of years now. Crossed Mimic is in the plus 100 universe, meaning if you haven't seen my videos, Crossed is a horrible virus that ruins the planet, and this story takes place 100 years into the future of planet Earth and how it survived this apocalypse, or didn't survive. This is a really grim story, and it does it does that thing that I love from Tales from the Crypt, where there's a despicable character doing despicable things, and then an even more despicable monster shows up and punishes that despicable character. That's kind of the ebb and flow of the original Tales from the Crypt type stories, and it's very much alive right here. Two manga. Blood on the Tracks, Volume 1 and 2. This is a horror manga that disguises itself as like a domestic story. You have kind of a quiet kid in Japan just going about life. The fact that he's Japanese doesn't change any way that the reader relates to him as a young boy. It's, you know, you're embarrassed putting on your swimsuit at school. There's the girl that you like over there, and instead of going over to talk to her, you wait till she's talking to another boy, and you're like, she likes him, and then run away so that like she's embarrassed and stops talking to him. It's like real authentic kid stuff. And his mom is kind of quiet, but like a little overprotective, and the family notices too, like the extended family. And it's kind of normal. It's just normal, right? The whole family, extended family included, aunts, cousins, they go on a hiking trip. They're going up this beautiful mountain on a summer day, and the cousin of the main character is a little roughhousey, a little like, hey bro, but not mean-spirited, just kind of, you know, a pushy, arm punchy kind of guy. And mom doesn't like this. She's not freaking out, but she just doesn't dig it. So the whole family's in the woods, and there's this beautiful little cliff, just a little tiny cliff that overlooks a part of the valley that they're hiking towards. And the roughhousey cousin pushes our main character and gives him like whoa, one of those, you know, boy maneuvers. And mom snatches up her kid, and she just holds on to the main character, just holds on to him really tight. And everyone's kind of laughing at mom like, haha, you're so overprotective, right? Well, the boys leave the group to go take a pee in the woods, like boys do, I guess. And the cousin says, hey, let's follow this trail a little bit. They follow the trail, and they find an even bigger cliff far away from the family that overlooks the whole valley. And mom comes out of the woods. The cousin has walked bravely up to the edge, and he's kind of like messing around. The mother of the main character says, hey, be careful. And the cousin's like, what are you talking about? I'm perfectly... Oh. And he starts to fall. Mom rushes over and grabs the cousin into a hug. It kind of mirrors the image before we got of mom holding onto her son. She slowly lets the cousin go. The cousin looks up his aunt, the main character's mom, and sees something in her face. And then, in a full page spread, when you turn the page, this bitch shoves this cousin off a cliff. And in the quiet moments after, our main character is staring at the back of his mother, who just murdered his cousin in front of him. She slowly turns back towards the camera and smiles like there's nothing wrong. It's wild, and it only gets crazier from there, but the kid dealing with the guilt of watching his mother murder his cousin and the intrigue that comes of that. I read that one, and I read the second one, and I immediately ran back to the bookstore and bought the next two volumes. So far, it's up to volume 12, and I'm really excited to keep reading. I'll keep you posted. Now, on to the three books I read. Life After Death by Sister Soldier. Sister Soldier, incidentally, is the only female member of Public Enemy and a prolific writer. She has written a series of books all in the same kind of like Marvel Cinematic Universe almost, of just domestic intrigue. There is a character in this book that dies and goes to the afterlife. And it is the horrific experiences that they have in hell. It's not fun to read. The main character is extraordinarily unlikable. But this journey through hell and her description of it's pretty vicious. This is actually a sequel. The first book is called The Coldest Winter Ever, and it's about the main character, whose name is Winter. And she's, I would contest, is the most unlikable main character in a book I've ever read. She's so unlikable, I would actually try to warn interested readers, look, she's horrible, but that's kind of the point. So you gotta grin and bear it because the writing is top notch and the story is interesting. But that's her life, the coldest winter ever. This one is all about her death, and there's some shocking stuff in it. She gets eaten by a snake, weird, and digested and turned into poop, weird. But she's in the snake in a terrarium in Satan's house, right? His like club slash penthouse. And she's completely aware. She has the sense of sound and thought, and that's it. There's no sense of touch, it's sound and thought. And all she can hear is the hissing of the snake. And she talks about rather bleakly how she spends days, hours, weeks, months begging for death in this state, and death never comes. You can't sleep, you can't rest, you're always aware, you're always in pain. Nothing changes and it's dark. That's rough, and that's stuck with me. Next book I read, Dark Harvest. Now, these next two books that I'm going to be talking about, if you've been out of reading for a long time, like, look, I'm not judging you. People fall out of reading. I love reading, but if book reading is something that you haven't done for quite some time, this really is a great place to jump on. This is like a folklore, towny kind of horror story where there's this town, right? And every year, all of the under 18-year-old boys are locked in their rooms for 5 days without food and only liquid. On the sixth day, these boys are let out of their homes and into the streets, ravenous with hunger, to hunt the October Boy, a Jack Skellington Pumpkin King looking kind of character who arises out of the ground every Halloween, is filled with candy, and is trying to make it to the church in the center of town by midnight. If he can make it there, we don't know what really happens, but it's apparently very important that he doesn't make it there. Big consequences are spoken of. And so these boys are hunting down, cutting off his limbs, and like as he bleeds, you know, part of the October Boy's strategy is he bleeds and the boys dive on the candy because they're starving. But if you kill the October Boy, you get to be one of the only people who ever gets to leave town, and you've got it made beyond the borders. And within the borders, your family stays and they're completely taken care of. House paid off, jobs at triple pay, crazy benefits. The real story of the book, though, is once you've killed the October Boy, your ass becomes the October Boy for next year. They take your winning self into the middle of a dead pumpkin patch, put a gun to your head, and blow your friggin' brains out. And out of that dead soil next year rises the next October Boy. And this town's been doing this for generations. But that's not just the cool part. The cool part is the narrator of the story talks to you, the reader, as if you once had won the competition decades ago. So they'll say things to you like, and then the vines replaced his veins. But you remember, don't you? It's a great time. Relatively short. You could finish it in a day if you're an avid reader, maybe a week if you're a little bit slower. But again, great place to jump in on if you haven't read for a while. Last book before the last chunk of comics. Tender is the Flesh. This, it is vicious, but it's really good. So there's a virus that has infected every animal on planet Earth, okay? To the point where if you eat any animal, bird, chicken, cow, pig, dog, cat, doesn't matter, anything, giraffe, who cares? If you eat them, you will get a virus that will kill you painfully in short order. So the whole world has completely given up meat. Well, animal meat. In this book, they've started to breed human beings for consumption. At birth, they remove their vocal cords so they can't scream and they're sent to processing plants for vivisection. The main character works at a processing plant. He absolutely hates it, and he's just explaining to us, the reader, how awful the world has gotten. It's horrific. You get to see every aspect of the meat packing industry, what they do to humans, how they do it, how they sell it, because this guy's a little higher up in the company. He like at one point literally takes employees on a tour of the facility and judges their reaction to see whether or not they can mentally handle this crazy life they live. That's a lot. It's a lot. It's one of those books, it's so wild that I would stop after a chapter and have to like decompress with my wife. You won't believe this. And by the end, she's like, I'll never read that. I would give her like certain paragraphs to read. And I kid you not, her reaction was like, it's that gross. Finally, to end with comic books, I read the first appearances of The Question. These 5 books are his first appearance. The Question is the B storyline in these Blue Beetle comic books. They are Blue Beetle centered stories. Blue Beetle even comes first, and Question is truly the B story. Then this book is the last book of the Blue Beetle and Question like double feature books. And it's not even until this book that they even meet. It really is like side A of a record and side B when you're reading the first appearance of The Question. It's all just a Blue Beetle story and all just a Question story. And then this one is they actually meet up and have an adventure together, but it's the last time they work together because this is Mysterious Suspense #1. Tell me that's not the coolest title ever. But Mysterious Suspense #1, this is the first solo Question story. And no joke, when I was practicing for this video, like I walk around my house for the day thinking about what I'm going to talk about. And if my wife isn't around and I don't look crazy, I can talk out loud to myself. And I found that I felt a lot about this book, so much so that I'm going to be doing a whole video specifically about this one comic. This is special. This might actually be one of my top favorite first issues of a character. Now, I know that you know that this is the first appearance of The Question, but this is a real Hulk 180, 181 situation. That is the first appearance of The Question, but it's not very good. It's not very good writing. It's 60s writing, huge text bubbles with tons of text, not a lot of showing, but a lot of telling. This is a complete story, and I had a great deal of affection for it. So keep your eyes open for that video. That's it. That's everything I read. I am reading another book right now. I am still continuing to read throughout the week, throughout the month, while I'm editing the end of my book. And I'm working towards that October 1st start date. I have more videos coming. There's going to be another video this week, 2 videos a week. It's just, it's a little bit of extra stress because I have the second book that I'm working on, but I love doing this. I love talking to you guys. I love meeting you guys and getting to, I don't know, just finally have some friends to talk about with comic books is how I see it. I know this is like social media and it's stupid, but it does mean a great deal to me that I can come on here and just meet some awesome people. So I'm excited. 100 subscribers. Someone watching this video who isn't subscribed, hit subscribe. Make my life. I'm excited. You should be excited. Let's excite together. There's no way to end that. Love you. Bye.